I tried meditation, but it just didn't work for me. I have too much of a monkey mind. If I had a nickel for every time somebody said that to me, I'd have a whole sack full of nickels. Um, Hi, my name is Dr. Asatar Bear. I'm the founder of Meditation 2.0, where inner peace meets modern life. And I'd like to talk to you today about monkey mind. So the good news is you don't have monkey mind, all right? The bad news is, well, let me get into it, all right? So first of all, what is monkey mind? It's pretty much what it sounds like, you watch a monkey, they hop around and, they go from branch to branch and, so your mind does that, right? Your mind hops around from one thing to the next, it's never still, and, it does this, that, and the other, and, that's monkey mind. Sounds like you've got it, right? Well, so the good news is you don't. See, everyone's mind works pretty much the same way, right? We all know different things and, we think in slightly different ways. But, basically your mind is designed to generate thoughts. That's just the way it is, right? If you're watching me do this, your brain is functional, your mind is functional. Thank goodness, right? Life would be a lot more difficult if it wasn't. The problem is not that your mind is too fast and strong and agile like a monkey. That's not the problem. The problem is that your heart, your emotional center, is too weak. You see, your thoughts follow the track that's laid by your emotional center. That's your heart or your heart chakra. All right? So if your thoughts feel disconnected and they feel unimportant, they feel like they're troubling you, that's because your emotional center needs to be stronger. Right, so let's get into this in more detail. All right? We'll talk about different aspects of what people might consider to be monkey mind. All right? So the first is that your thoughts just move from one mundane thing to the next. Right? It doesn't seem like your thoughts are particularly important, and particularly when you're meditating. This comes up when you're meditating, like God, why am I thinking about this? It's so unimportant. I'm supposed to be, becoming one with the universe right now, right? Why am I thinking about, the dishes or this project or whatever it is that you're thinking about that feels mundane and uninspired, right? Well, so the thing is that your heart, your heart chakra, and your mind are two parts of the same faculty. So, and in ancient languages, for example, they use the same word for heart and mind. In recognition that what we call the mind is the surface of the center of your being. Right? Your mind follows the things that are really important to you. And so if your mind is on a track that feels mundane, it means that you have lost that connection to what is really important. What really gives you purpose? If your thoughts bore you, they feel prosaic and mundane, well, it's because you've lost sight of what really is important. And that comes from your heart. Now, conversely, when you are in touch with your emotions, and when your thoughts are following from strong emotion, you're not going to have the problem that those thoughts feel mundane. Those thoughts are going to be very exciting, very compelling thoughts. So you get in touch with your heart and your mind comes alive. Okay, so the second thing that people often call monkey mind is it's not really about your thoughts per se. It's that when you sit down to meditate, you come up with disturbing stuff, right? You have thoughts which lead you down a dark path. You have feelings that you'd rather not feel. Let me give you an example. I've got a friend, Mark, and when he sits down and becomes still, he might not even be meditating, he might just be in a quiet, reflective space. He just feels so angry, and it's because of something that happened at work with a coworker. He was pushed out, and he just feels tremendous anger, and so his thoughts are angry, and there's violent revenge fantasies, and it's disturbing, right? And it clashes with his sense of himself. You know, he doesn't think of himself as like an angry, violent person, but that's what his thoughts are like, right? And so he doesn't like to be confronted with that. That's cognitive dissonance, when the way that you think about yourself is clashing with the way that you seem to actually be. So here's the thing. You can't think your way through the emotion. You know, you can't talk yourself out of it. You know, you can't say, now mind, you really shouldn't be thinking like that, and we're not that kind of person, and you know better. It just doesn't work that way. You're gonna think about the things that matter to you, and by resisting the difficult emotion, you are prolonging it. You're staying on the surface of it, right? Because of the pain of going deeply into it. And that is, of course, what you need to do. You need to embrace your feelings. You need to explore your feelings. You need to have the strength and the courage to go within and really feel what is in your heart. And meditation is the ideal way to do that, because meditation, through stillness, through setting aside the time to explore your inner world, you have much greater resources than when you are sort of just blindsided by your feelings, right? And if you learn how to really develop your breath, then you have an incredibly powerful tool to allow you to really go inside and explore and integrate all of your feelings. Now, I teach that method of breathing in the Meditation Basics course. Not every kind of meditation works with breath so extensively as a tool, right? Almost every kind of meditation tells you to focus on the breath. There are ways of working with your breath that make it incredibly powerful, especially for dealing with difficult things. And that's what I teach in Meditation Basics. So when your heart is strong, right? When your heart chakra is energized and open, you don't fear your emotions. You don't fear the thoughts that come out of that place of pain or difficulty or challenge or fear. You can embrace all of your feelings because they're all part of you, right? And you are bigger than any one feeling that you have, right? So even if it's a very disturbing kind of feeling, you can feel that and let it flow through you. All right, so number 3, when you sit still, you feel anxiety, right? Anxiety is very, very common, right? Stress and anxiety go together hand in hand, right? It's like the disease of our time, right? We don't have the high octane, super, adrenaline version of fear, right? We have the low grade version, just the buzz of anxiety going on all the time, right? And there's a lot of things that can make you feel anxious. And what happens when you just go over and go over, in psychology they call it rumination. It's like you're going over and going over the same thoughts again and again, and maybe you go through them a little bit faster, right? When your thoughts move faster, they tend to be more anxious, right? So that's something to notice when you feel anxious. Just notice, like, are your thoughts moving really fast? They probably are. Our society makes us anxious in so many ways. I mean, we're just like awash in sensory stimulation, right? Everywhere we go, somebody is trying to get our attention, right? To sell us something, to play on our hopes and fears, right? And a lot of it is competitive, right? It's like, so-and-so has more than you, or, if this happens, then, you're going to be in real trouble, and, right? All of this stuff produces anxiety. Now, there's another reason for anxiety, which is more inner in focus, right? And that reason is that your mind, like what you think of as your rational faculty, is not really very good at making decisions, right? If you're not in touch with what is truly important to you, then you're not going to make good decisions. You're gonna do the thing which seems to be practical. Maybe everybody tells you it's a good idea or whatever, right? It seems to make sense, but it will not make you happy, right? I mean, think of the big decisions in your life. Most of them have been made with too little data, right? Life is actually pretty complex. Like the big decisions can't really be made on the basis of pro and con because there's so much that's unknown, right? Like, who should I fall in love with? What job should I take? Should I move here or there? I mean, all the big decisions, you just can't know enough to make that decision rationally. And so, what do you have to do? Well, you follow your feelings. And to do that, you have to be in touch with your feelings. And so if your mind doesn't feel that connection to your heart, then you're going to feel a sense of anxiety. It's like on a ship or something, right? There's like the captain and the first mate or whatever, right? The captain says, this is where we're going to go. And the first mate says, like, okay, everybody, like, here's, trim the sails, and here's what needs to happen, right? Imagine if the captain, like, locked herself in her cabin or something like that, right? And wouldn't come out and gave no orders. Well, you might feel pretty anxious as the first mate then, like, well, which way should we go, right? I mean, I know what to do, but I don't know, I don't know what direction. I don't know what the priorities are, right? Your mind isn't designed for that, right? It's your heart knows what life is really about. So the solution to all of this is to strengthen your emotional center. Right? When your heart is strong, then you feel like things will work out, right? You feel at peace. You feel confident. And meditation is a great way to get that feeling, right? And particularly meditation techniques that give your mind something to do, right? So you focus on your breath or you practice certain breathing techniques and your mind is occupied, right? And if those techniques produce a powerful energy in the center of your being, well, that's even better, right? Because then every moment that you practice that, you're bringing yourself out of your thoughts and into your emotions. Your emotions are most of what you are, right? So meditation should really help you to explore and get into your emotions. So if you tried meditation before and it didn't work for you, well, maybe it wasn't really geared toward strengthening your emotional center, right? A lot of kinds of meditation aren't geared toward that, to be honest. Because, sometimes the first thing you need is just a sense of like, how is my mind actually working, right? What is my mind doing? But once you have that sense, it's good to move on to kinds of meditation that will have an effect on you, right? That will actually change you and make you more into yourself, right? I mean, that's the point of meditation, is to make you more yourself. So again, I teach a course called Meditation Basics, which is designed to help you with that, with all of this. It's 28 days long, and you can learn more about it at my website, meditation2.0.com. Thanks for watching this video. I'm Dr. Asatar Bear. Namaste.